Vikings Radio Network, your chance to talk about today's game with the Vikings broadcast team. Join the conversation on Vikings Fan Line by calling 800-320-5326 using the TalkBack feature on the iHeartRadio app or by sending us a message on the KFAN social channels. Now it's your reaction to all the action. Vikings Fan Line. Here's KFAN's Ron Johnson and Corey Cove.
Vikings win 24-16 in Miami. First time since the 1970s they've done that. They're 5-1, Ron. I don't know if they're scaring anyone. I don't know if anybody's thrilled about the performances, but you can't take the 5 wins away regardless of how they've played. They still haven't put a full, complete game together where you're just like, man, all 3 phases just killed it. But they're 5-1, and they have another week off now, a couple of weeks to think about how do you get this more consistent? How do you get this more efficient? Frustrating day on offense, but they're 5-1, and you can't apologize for beating up on Skylar Thompson and Teddy.
Yeah, a lot of people talked about what this team could be and what they would have been if this same team had the same, I guess, culture as last year. Some of these games they lose. Kicker misses a kick. Who knows what happens? I saw Meat Sauce tweet that, this team's going to lose 17-16 now because that's what happens. Well, that's what used to happen. Clearly, whatever they're doing, they're getting these guys to continue to play. I mean, Patrick Peterson had no idea. I didn't either. I didn't even realize they had 400-plus yards. But they dominated in every category, the Dolphins did. But the defense bent, but they did not break. The offense came on and scored when they had to. So, I mean, they're putting the pieces together. If they beat the Washington Commanders are not saying easy win, but they should be able to win that one. I think the Cardinals is a toss-up right now. Who knows if DeAndre Hopkins comes back and they can gel. Sometimes a guy being out that long, he might come back and it might get a little weird because they're trying to force the ball to him. They could go 7-1, heading into a tough stretch when you got the Cowboys still coming up and you still got the Bills. But, 7-1, and then you still have the Lions and the Bears again. You have the Packers who are struggling again. I'm not going to say the number, but I said it earlier, this could be a 12-win team, and it's there. And
again, that scary thing is they're 5-1, and they're not playing that well. So if they start playing well, I feel like we've done 6 straight fan lines that sound similar to this, where it's if they start playing well.
We've done 6. I don't know how many you've done.
Fair. I think I've done 3. Maybe this is 4. I don't know. Who knows? Game balls across the board of the defense, right? Patrick Jones, Darius Smith, Harrison Smith, Patrick Peterson.
Yeah.
I think.
But the punter, too, though. Ryan Wright flipped the field.
Right, but that's exactly. But that's also indicative of how bad the offense was, right? Yeah. Defense won this game.
Yeah, even the fake punt, Josh Metellus paid attention to that and stopped the guy from trying to stretch the ball out, get the first down. Yep. And that was a random weird time. I don't think anybody even thought a fake was possibly coming. But Josh Metellus was paying attention, didn't get lackadaisical. So little stuff like that. I feel like, again, that's probably a play where a lackadaisical team last year where some of these guys, Josh Metellus was young, Chris Boyd was young, and they end up making some type of mistake that blows this game. But everybody was in the game the entire time.
Yeah, love it. 24-16, the Vikings beat the Dolphins. We'll take your calls at 1-800-320-5326. Or, of course, you can reach out on the talkback option. On the iHeartRadio app, it's a little microphone. You leave a message, call, complaint, whatever it is. Paul in Roseville, you're on Minnesota Vikings fan line and on the Minnesota Vikings radio network. Hi, Paul.
Yeah, hi, Corey. Dills are essential item, damn it.
I wonder why we don't take calls.
Wait, what did he say?
Yeah, it's exactly what you thought he said. Oh, okay. 24-16, the Vikings win. We'll take your calls, except for that guy, and the talkback option after this. Ron Johnson is here. I'm here. Paul and Nordo from Overtime will join us maybe in an hour or so, and then they'll follow us. More of the Vikings fan line and reactions to the Vikings victory after this. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
At Evans, we know that defense and big stops wins you championships. But when it comes to logistics, moving forward is key. Ben Lieber here for my guys at Evans. If logistics were football, Evans would be an explosive offense, dropping dimes and hitting the gritty. Make Evans your favorite logistics team today. Evans will be your signal caller you can jump on their backs and ride to victory. Get ahead of the competition right now and have a great experience while you're at it. Visit evanstrans.com. Again, evanstrans.com.
We're proud Minnesotans. We're proud Viking fans. But most of all, we're proud of our Schweigers. For 80 years, Schweigert has been the go-to hot dog for real sports fans. They're delicious. They're satisfying. They make everything better. So the next time you're tailgating, at the game, or grilling at home, tell them, make mine a Schweigert. Schweigert, the official hot dog of the Minnesota Vikings. Available at a store near you.
From manufacturing to safety to healthcare, scientists at 3M work every day to apply science in meaningful ways. This includes purification technologies that help advance vaccine and therapy development, like the COVID-19 vaccine, helping fans like you get back to the moments you love. Moments like watching the Minnesota Vikings in action, all made possible with the help of 3M Science. That is 3M Science, applied to life.
The Vikings Big Ticket Scratch Game is here. So it's time for a quick tip on going big. A football ringtone is good, but to go big, try a Yallerhorn ringtone.
That's just quiet mode.
You can also go big by playing the new Vikings Big Ticket Scratch Game with $10.2 million in total cash prizes. Minnesota Lottery. I'm in. Must be 18 or older to go big.
We are rubes like you, and we talk Vikings football every day, too. Join us weekdays 9 to noon. Now back to Vikings football.
Handoff Dalvin, Miami native with some room left side. There he goes! To the right. He gets to the 30. Dalvin 20. And he's loose! Touchdown! Welcome home, Dalvin Cook. He just ran into the end zone and ran the Minnesota Vikings to a 22-10 lead.
Hey guys, Clay Lynchide here, Odin, Minnesota. What do you think about Dalvin today? It was really nice seeing him being pretty productive. I really love that big run he had. You think he's going to have more like that this season, or was this just like a one-off? It's kind of hard to say, don't you think? All right, guys. Love everything you do. Thanks.
It is hard to say. A 53-yarder from Dalvin, that was kind of, temporarily at least, the dagger, but then the Dolphins climbed back in it for a second with a touchdown and went for two to try to make it interesting. But no, back to Dalvin Cook for a second. I think, PA hammered that a week or two ago that, was it 4 games in? And the longest run that we had for the year was something like 17 yards.
Yep, 17. I think it was Jalen Reagor.
So we just had not had a lot of explosive runs this year. That one was an explosive one and a super critical one because, look, until Harrison Smith stripped Jalen Waddle, this game was getting dicey, right? It was 16-10, and they were marching. If the Dolphins push that one in, who knows what happens? But luckily, Harrison Smith strips it. Jalen Waddle puts it on the floor. And then Dalvin daggers the Dolphins, or at least temporarily daggers the Dolphins. I don't know. I don't know why the run game has been so inconsistent this year. I think that's a huge flaw right now in our team, but it worked when it mattered in the second half. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think about Dalvin.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, so just go back to the 2021 with the Rams. And this is, like I said, you have to understand, coaches are creatures of habit. They're going to do what they've seen done. He's seen how Sean McVay ran an offense. He's seen that offense win the Super Bowl. Sony Michel's longest run was 39 yards. Darrell Henderson's longest run was 29 yards. 700 yards from Henderson, 800 yards from Sony Michel.
That was the entire season?
The entire season.
39 yards
39
was the
yards was the longest run, and then Darrell Henderson was 29. You got Cooper Kupp was the next longest run at 18 yards. Robert Woods, another receiver, 16 yards. Matthew Stafford, 12 yards, and then Van Jefferson, 10. So that's it. I mean, you got receivers with the next set of rushing yards. There was only 2 guys who had high rushing stats, which is Sony Michel and Darrell Henderson. There's no fullback in this. So that's what this team was built. This team was built for Matthew Stafford to go in there and kill it. And that's what I'm pretty sure that's what Kevin O'Connell was thinking. He's like, look, Matthew Stafford threw for 488 yards last year, or 4,886 yards last year, 41 touchdowns, 17 freaking interceptions, but 41 touchdowns, we won a Super Bowl. That's why he's like, look, Kirk, I don't really care about the mistakes. I know we can still win with mistakes. And that's why he wants him to play loose, play carefree, go out there and make some of those throws. That's why Kirk Cousins now is more dialed in. On the pregame show on Fox, Christian Darrisaw was interviewed by Tatum Everett, and he said Kirk Cousins is a lot more looser. He's having fun. He looks comfortable. And then Tatum tried to throw a zinger at him and said, what do you think he's comfortable? Like, why is he comfortable this year? He was like, I don't know. We know. Yeah. Like, we know why he's comfortable. The minute Justin Jefferson, we don't know if it's a wrong route. He misjudged the coverage, the play change. When he saw Justin Jefferson run the wrong route, he throws the fade route, Justin ran a hitch. He was pissed off. Kevin O'Connell came and talked to him. Mike Zimmer would never have come over and talked to a pissed off Kirk Cousins. He wouldn't have. He'd have been out there worried about the defense. And Kirk would have been on the bench trying to figure it out himself, trying to talk to his offensive coordinator in his headset, trying to talk to his quarterback's coach. He has the head coach coming over to him while the defense is going back on the field and say, hey, it's going to be okay. Like, we got this. It was one mistake. Fix it. We'll fix it. We'll get back out there. And what happened? They went back out there calm, cool, collected, and they won the game. Like, that's the difference in this team now.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
For Minnesota sports, follow the leader. Minnesota sports leader is FM 100.3, KFXN Minneapolis, St. Paul. The Fan.
Tyreek Hill today, 12 catches, 177 yards.
I called it. I said it with Rosie this morning. You can ask Rosie this week. I know he's a fraud, but he can tell you. I said Don Mitchell, Ben Lieber, everybody's like, oh, he's only been having 77 yards here. 80. I was like, today is a Tyreek Hill day. And nothing against his defense. They play so much zone. It leaves him a lot of space to operate and run after the catch. I think he was coming into this game, was like one of the number one yak getters in the NFL. You can't play that much zone with Tyreek Hill. You're just going to give him space. And I saw it coming. He had a hell of a day. But again, they even though they got their butts beat in with passes here and there, they found a way to turn the ball over.
How different is this game if Skylar Thompson stays in it? Because Teddy just didn't look ready. I'm not.
But Teddy threw for 329 yards.
Yeah, a lot of that was in catch-up mode.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Skylar Thompson looked good. I'm just saying the first at least quarter of Teddy, he looked like he wasn't ready because of the lack of practice time this week. Skylar at least looked like he was ready to come out and gun it. Even if he wasn't, a world beater, he looked ready. Skylar looked ready.
Yeah, he did. And it's interesting now, though, like Teddy looking kind of shaky. Skylar now thumb. He's probably out. They're now saying Tua is going to play next week, which I don't think he should. He should be done for the rest. He had a seizure. Like, he should be done for the rest of the season. This is ridiculous. But when you look at that offense, I think Skylar Thompson doesn't make some of the mistakes Teddy made. I think he's probably a little bit more dialed in because he was the named starter for the week. It's kind of like reverse of last week. You had Teddy Bridgewater, named starter. Skylar Thompson comes in, and he struggles a little bit against the Jets. So it's tough when the whole week you've been playing two and you haven't – and Teddy wasn't even cleared until I think like Friday. So you just never really know what you're going to get. I think Skylar Thompson probably makes it a closer game. You're right.
Did we ever learn what would have happened if Teddy got knocked out? Like, I don't want the guy that had a hit to the head, but let's say for whatever reason.
Tyreek Hill probably.
That was my guess as well. Moss and I were talking about that during one of the commercial breaks. We were like, is Tyreek Hill going to sling it the rest?
Emergency. I think that
would have been insane.
Him or Jalen Waddle.
Wouldn't that have been fun?
That would have. He would have run just jet sweep.
Even if it's a train wreck, half of Tyreek Hill at quarterback would have been super entertaining.
Yeah, it would have. I don't think anybody would have been able to sack him. Like, I'm pretty sure he gets going. He's gone.
The Vikes win 24-16 over the Dolphins. Dolphins looked like 3 weeks ago maybe a top 3 or 4 team in the league. Obviously, with the injuries to Tua and Teddy and so on and so forth, they're kind of falling apart. I'd be curious to see how things change if Tua is back next week. But nevertheless, they're 3-3. The Vikings continue to find strange ways to win.
Right.
They're 5-1 for the first time since what, 16? I think I heard.
Yeah,
crazy. That's Ron Johnson. I'm Corey Cove. 1-800-320-5326 or the talk back option on the iHeartRadio app. More reactions to the Vikings victory. They're 5-1. This is Minnesota Vikings football.
In Minnesota, winning is everything. And on the road, that means Honda, America's most fuel-efficient, full-line automaker. And this year, Honda's made some exciting new lineup changes, starting with the all-new Honda HR-V. And coming soon, even more redesigned Honda SUVs. So don't wait. For attractive financing on Honda's all-star lineup, see your Greater Twin Cities Honda dealer to reserve or buy your Honda today. Based on EPA estimate of model year 2020 full-line automaker fleet-wide fuel economy. 2021 EPA Automotive Trends Report.
All right, who's ready to go to soccer, huh?
Yes!
It started as a normal Saturday, but then...
Oh, no. Sounds like the battery.
That's when their plans took a turn for the worse.
Oh, I knew I should have had the battery checked.
Dad, look at the birds.
Those are vultures!
Don't let a bad battery turn your day into a B-rated horror film. Get your battery checked today. Need a new one? Reach for what works. A battery from FVP. Verified, proven.
Nothing beats being in the stands for live Minnesota Vikings football. From those nail-biting passes to pivotal plays to the game-winning touchdowns. You can be there for all the action this season. As the official ticket marketplace of the NFL, Ticketmaster has a wide selection of seats so you never miss a game. Score tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Minnesota Vikings. Get your tickets today. That's Ticketmaster.com/Minnesota Vikings.
Hello, families. Are you looking for a safe, loving, learning environment for your child? New Horizon Academy is a family-owned child care program that serves families just like yours. Our curriculum is specially designed to meet the educational needs of children ages 6 weeks through school age. We invite you to call or stop into your neighborhood New Horizon Academy to take a tour anytime. Learn more at newhorizonacademy.net. New Horizon Academy, where love and learning grow.
We are rubes like you, and we talk Vikings football every day, too. Join us weekdays 9 to noon. Now back to Vikings football.
3rd and 8 from their own 12. Teddy, shotgun, stays in the pocket. Flustered. Sacked! He was sacked back at the 9-yard line, and Patrick Jones came into the game with no sacks, and now he has 2. 1st and 10. Elegant gold motions behind Teddy. Back to pass, and he's sacked. Teddy's lucky he bent over because Zadarius Smith had him smacked from behind. And for Zadarius Smith, he has 4.5 sacks this season. The Vikings have 4 on the game. It's a loss of 6 yards, 2nd and long.
They finished with 6 sacks. Sorry, Brandon. They finished with 6 sacks. 2 by Patrick Jones, 2 by Zadarius Smith, 1 by Danielle Hunter, 1 by Jordan Hicks. What were you going to play? You know, it's always helpful around when I pay attention. I wasn't paying attention.
Defensive line played much better today. Got after the quarterback consistently all game. The one concern I would have going forward is our inconsistency on offense. And I've said it for probably the last year and a half is we're feast or famine on offense. Either we look great or we go 3 and out. Is kind of what it seems like. Eventually, that could come back to bite you.
Yeah, thanks for the talk back. Same thing. Again, defense won the game, right? 6 sacks, the interceptions, the whole bit. I thought they played well. The inconsistency on offense, I think, has been the frustration the entire 6 games, even the 5 wins. It's you play great for a half and you look unstoppable and then you fall asleep for a half.
Yeah. Yeah, again, this is a team that has not scored a touchdown in the 3rd quarter. I think we talked about it last week, or I talked about it with Nordo. But
didn't do it again.
One of the worst 3rd down or 3rd quarter offenses in the NFL. I think they're like 30th or 31st as far as yards gained in the 3rd quarter. Everybody keeps bringing it up now. 6 games, no 3rd quarter score. So I don't know what that halftime speech looks like. I don't know what the play calls coming out of half, because at the beginning of the game, Kevin O'Connell is dead on. Like, he's really good. He's really efficient. It's 1st and 2nd down, still one of the tops. Kirk Cousins.
Not this game. This game, it was the opposite. It was just a bunch of 3 and outs.
It was earlier. I'm
Nothing
saying
was working
before
today.
this game, though. Yeah, and then you look at Kirk Cousins in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the last 3 games. He's the number 1 quarterback in the NFL. So they've done the right things at the beginning and the end. This one was just a mixed bag of stuff. Like, you just really didn't know what you were going to get. But Patrick Peterson stepped up. Cam Bynum stepped up. You saw Josh Metellus make a play. You saw the punter, consistently not, miss a kick. You saw special teams making plays. The Dolphins almost gave one up early on the muff punt, and somehow they fell on it with 1 guy versus 3. So there was a lot. I think the Dolphins were just trying to give this game away, it felt like. Like, it did not feel like they really wanted to win this game.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I think that it's just when the Skylar Thompson to Teddy Bridgewater change happened, it felt like the Dolphins were deflated. And it's weird because if you had told me a week ago that it was going to be Teddy over some guy we've never heard of, I'd say, well, that clearly is a better option for Miami. But that wasn't the case. I felt like the team knew it was over when it went to Teddy.
I think maybe we felt that way. I mean, they still were in it. Like, besides, like, Jalen Waddle, if he doesn't fumble the ball, like, you got to think about all the plays that didn't go their way.
But wasn't that a quarter and a half or almost 2 quarters later? I'm just saying that first quarter and change.
Yeah, the first start
of it
was,
had no fire under
the
Teddy.
first start of it, it was because Skylar Thompson early on, he had the rush, and I said the kid can run a little bit, so he's not going to sit in the pocket like a statue. So he had the rush to kind of extend the play. He had a couple big throws to start the game. Though, if you think about their red zone or their driving early, they had like 6 big plays that Skylar Thompson made, and they all came back because of a penalty, whether it was a holding, somebody down the field, pass interference. I mean, there was a lot of weird stuff going on in that early going where the Vikings had no flags and the Dolphins had 6. If they don't have a flag there, Tyreek Hill or somebody gets them down to, I think, the goal line or the 2-yard line, they score there early, and it changes the game. Like, even that was weird where they ended up being in 4th and 32 and had to punt the ball. So, again, penalties killed them. They didn't seem prepared. They seemed like a team that was getting ready for the bye week and couldn't wait to get back to Miami. Like, they were playing like the opposite.
Kurt in Iowa. Hi, Kurt.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
It's a great show. I just want to say, what a breath of fresh air. We go from kind of the old ball coach in Zim, kind of the fear factor thing, and then we go to, KOC. It's just a smart coach. You just listen to him pregame, postgame, during the week. He just sounds, he's just incredible. And these guys, I think everybody's just bought in, especially the veterans. It just seems like, look at Pat Pete with all the juice that he has out there. Adam Thielen, he'll get banged up on a play. He'll go to the sidelines. He'll come back in. And, he just keeps fighting. I just think this whole team has bought into this, this analytical approach of just being smart, just doing the right things. I wanted to go buy more beer at the end of the first quarter because it just looked hideous. But, it's still like a 3-point game or it's still 0-0. And everybody just keeps buying in and keeps working hard. And it just, give credit to the Wolves, give credit to Kwesi for bringing, Kevin in. This is a hell of a coach. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks. And, we ripped Rick Spielman last year, right? In what looked like it was going to be maybe Mike Zimmer's last year. I would say Spielman didn't do him a lot of favors, right? The draft class just didn't really help.
Yep.
If you look at this draft class so far through 6 games, and they're 5-1, terrible injury to Lewis Seen, right? We'll never know what he would have contributed to year 1. Hopefully he comes back full strength next year and is a major factor moving forward. But we have no idea how much progress he was going to make this year. We've seen nothing out of Andrew Booth until today.
Yep.
Right? Ed Ingram's played pretty well this year. Had a rough day today, but still not the end of the world.
Yep.
A lot of good things out of Brian Asamoah, specifically though on special teams.
Yeah.
Same thing kind of with the Caleb Evans. Ty Chandler's on IR. Jalen Naylor's had a couple of moments. But you look at this draft class, we're 5-1, and virtually none of the help has been from the draft.
Right.
And I'm not saying that even in a bad way. I'm just saying it's kind of strange for the people who were frustrated with last year's team. We kind of just ran it back this year.
Yeah,
added Zadarius Smith, but the offense is almost identical, right? Almost identical. Then you add some of these draft picks. You're like, all right, we got to add some new fire to the defense.
Right.
This is maybe just a culture change because this is almost the exact same roster.
Yeah.
It's Jordan Hicks, it's Zadarius Smith, and that's basically it. Everybody else is pretty much the same.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, honestly,
take.
Look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When they got rid of Tony Dungy and brought in John Gruden. Not to say neither had a different bad or whatever. It was just a different voice. Like John Gruden came in with a different voice than Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy was more of a defensive-minded guy. Him and the quarterback always had a great relationship. But Brad Johnson and Gruden being more of an offensive-minded guy is what Tampa needed at that moment. They needed somebody to come in and say, we know this defense is good. Tony's built a great defense, but we need an offensive mind to come in and help this offense. Keyshawn Johnson was their guy. He didn't even play due to off-the-field stuff with the team where he just couldn't get it, couldn't get along. So Gruden's like, screw you, we don't need you. I'll pay you to stay home, Keyshawn. I will go win the Super Bowl without you. And they did it. And that's what you think about. He had a defense that was good enough to get it done. And he finally put an offense together with Brad Johnson. And so, same thing. I think it's just a different voice. Look at the Raiders. The Raiders without Gruden, they went to the Super Bowl that same year. Not to say Gruden wasn't good because he took the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl. But his Raiders made the Super Bowl too. So, oftentimes I think we overlook that it has nothing to do with that specific person. It's just sometimes teams need a new voice. They need a new direction. They need a new energy, and that's what Kevin O'Connell's bringing. He's bringing a new energy, a new vibe. Like everybody's saying, the guys are a lot more relaxed. Don't hesitate to think it has something to do with just Darius Smith and Danielle Hunter being on the same page. Danielle hasn't really gotten off,
but Zadarius is playing.
But Zadarius is balling out. You got Patrick Jones who's playing well. And healthy, exactly. Yeah. You got Harrison Smith who stayed on the field. Cam Bynum played so well that Lewis Cine couldn't find his way back on the field. Like that's what people are forgetting. It wasn't. I don't think it was Lewis Cine lack of anything. I think it was Cam Bynum's oh my God, this dude's really good. He's a former cornerback turned safety that can cover, but then also can play safe. That's rare to have a safety that can cover man to man that well. That's what you get. And I had Cam Bynum on my show. And I interviewed him. He said when Mike Zimmer called him and said, "Hey, we're gonna make you a safety. Are you okay with that?" He was like, "Let's go." He's like, "I think I could do it. Draft me." Because he could have said, "No, I don't want to. I want to play corner. I'll wait to another round. Somebody's going to get me eventually." He was a starter at Cal for 4 years. And what happened? He took the chance with the Vikings and said, boom. Because he told me, he said, I had 32 flags his family had bought from Amazon. Because whichever team drafted him, he was going to grab that flag and jump in the lake. And it just so happened that the Vikings drafted him, had the flag ready to go. He returned all 31 other flags to Amazon. But he said,
Amazon, of course, had to pick up the tab for all that shipping.
Yep.
That's really unfair.
Do they?
I mean, well, sure. Somebody has to pay to have those shipped back.
I don't know. I think if it's your fault that you just return them, no problems. I don't know. I don't deal with Amazon a lot, so I don't know how that works.
Oh, really?
The Amazon people can tell us out there.
The Jets won 27-10 over the Green Bay Packers. Is fine, though. He's doing fine. The Packers are 3-3. The Jets and Zach Wilson and all the stepmoms are up to 4-2.
It's not stepmoms. It's
mom's friends, stepmoms, whatever it is. He's probably into stepmoms as well. The Jets, though, are 4-2. I think the over-under for the year was something like 5.5, so they're overachieving. But let's talk about the Green Bay Packers for a sec, Ron, because not only are the Vikings 5-1,
yep.
Not only did the Packers lose inexplicably at Lambeau Field to the Jets,
yep.
So the Vikings have a 2-game lead, plus they've already beaten the Green Bay Packers, so it's really kind of 2.5-ish. The Vikings are 3-0 in the division.
Yep.
That's a great way to start, right? One against each team. This is, I don't want to say it's a guarantee because it's far from it. We got a long way to go, but this is about the dream scenario start to winning the NFC North.
Yeah.
The Packers look like that week 1 struggle is not a fluke, right? Rodgers and his group without Devontae Adams are just not on the same page.
Right.
So last year, Rodgers got off to that really bad start and then he went on to win MVP. This year, he got off to that really bad start against the Vikings, and I was even screaming after week 1, all right, we've seen this story before. You can't write off Aaron Rodgers after 1 week. He's going to figure it out. Now, they're 6 games in.
Right.
They look like they are lost on offense without Devontae Adams. So I
both
think,
teams, though, the Raiders are not doing well either.
No, but I'm just saying the threat is real, that the Packers struggle is not temporary, that it might be season long.
No, Aaron Rodgers is learning what happens when you take that much money and you say, screw everybody else, give me the money. Devontae Adams had to go.
I am loving the Vikings' chances of winning the division now because of the record, because of Green Bay's situation.
Yeah.
And I honestly am still one of those guys that thinks that this team could figure it out, and then they're very dangerous. Right now, I don't think the Bills, if you hooked up the lie detector test to the Buffalo Bills and said, are you afraid of the Vikings? They'd say no. The Chiefs aren't afraid of the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? The teams that are true Super Bowl contenders, I don't think yet are afraid of the 5-1 Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles prove that this team just isn't clicking yet, and they're going to get smoked by the good teams. But the potential for the Vikings to be in that group is still there. So why not just hover 5-1? And keep trying to figure it out. Keep beating these bad teams until you figure it out.
And now Kevin O'Connell has 2 weeks to get ready for Kyler Murray and that Cardinals offense. When you think about because it's going to be score for score, it's my guess. It's going to have to go back and forth.
Is it? Right now, the Seahawks are beating the Cardinals 6-3, and it's 17 seconds to go in the first half.
Seahawks defense
the Cardinals
is good.
are 2-3, and they're awful.
Yeah.
Honestly, they can't do anything now.
But Kyler Murray, again, it's another mobile quarterback. What has given the Vikings problems has been the quarterbacks that don't just sit in the pocket. Kyler Murray, he's smaller, so when he gets moving, it's tough to get him down. Again, we talk about this. You say the Cardinals are this. This team, it doesn't matter what the team is or who
the
they're
Vikings
playing.
are going to make it interesting.
They will find a way to make it interesting. So, the Bears, we thought the same thing. That shouldn't be a close game. It came down to Amir Smith-Marset handing the game over because he probably had money on the game.
But because we haven't seen a complete game, my guess is in 2 weeks it flips, right? Our offense is on fire, and all of a sudden our defense can't stop Kyler worth a damn, and it's a shootout.
Maybe it's a bye week. Everybody's rested. See. They come back excited, ready to go. There's a different bye week. This is their first bye week under Kevin O'Connell. And who knows what this bye week's going to look like. At the end of the day, if this offense, and again, I go back to the Rams, we need to take out of our mind that Dalvin Cook's going to be the best running back in the NFL this year. He's not. He's not. Statistically, he's not. This is going to be a 75 to 80 yard. He might have a 90, 100-yard game here and there, but it's going to be a 75 to 80-yard game for Dalvin Cook. Alexander Madison's going to take the crumbs. It's going to be, I'm forcing the ball to Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen and KJ Osborne, and I think they're going to try to find a tight end in the trade deadline. Like, I feel like at this point, he's like, I need a tight end like a Darren Waller or somebody that wants to get out because they're not happy with there. Zach Ertz with the Cardinals. I mean, there's a lot of tight ends who possibly could move, and the Vikings, I think, are going to try to make that play.
Oof. By the way, don't you love that we're at the point where Jefferson has a game for 107 and it felt like an off day?
Yeah, it did.
He's so good that 6 catches and 107. You're like, yeah, we didn't really use him much today. 107. It's an off game.
Because he's a Cooper Kupp guy now.
Yeah.
Like he has to get the ball.
Vikings win 24-16 over the Miami Dolphins. The Vikes up to 5-1, Dolphins to 3-3. That's Ron Johnson. I'm Corey Crow from the Power Trip Morning Show. And this is the KFAN Minnesota Vikings radio network driven by Polaris.
If you're a window installer, keep it simple. Choose Anderson 400 Series windows. They're the cladwood windows contractors trust the most. So much so, they're the windows contractors trust for their own homes. And with fewer callbacks, the choice is simple. It's Anderson 400 Series windows, the windows contractors trust the most. Get started at AndersonWindows.com today.
Claims based on 2022 Anderson brand survey of U.S. contractors.
Hey, Vikings fans, when you stay at Omni Viking Lakes, you stay at the official hotel of your favorite team. We built this place just for real fans like yourself, even putting it right next to the practice facility. Walk in the hotel, and it's like walking into Vikings heaven. You've dreamt of a place like this, and now you can dream in a place like this. Score! So Vikings fans, when you're looking for a place to stay in the game at Omni Viking Lakes, the official hotel of the Minnesota Vikings.
Welcome to the fourth industrial revolution, a revolution powered by data and applications, AI, and IoT. And now there's one company born to enable it, Lumen, the platform for next-generation business that combines adaptive networking, edge cloud, connected security, and collaboration. Lumen delivers the next-gen architecture that next-gen apps require. Say hello to Lumen, the platform for amazing things. Learn more at lumen.com.
Hey, so listen up. Quick Trip is teaming up with your Northland Ford dealers to give away a new Ford F-150 to one of you lucky Vikings fans and the opening drive sweepstakes. Just fuel up at Quick Trip with any of our fully guaranteed gasolines, use your Quick Rewards card, and you're entered. Weekly winners win a $10 gas card for every yard returned on the Vikings opening drive and a shot at winning a Ford F-150. Hey, Vikings score on that opening drive, it's an extra $500 for you. See QuickTrip.com/sweepstakes for details, and see you next time.
Your radio home for Vikings football. FM 100.3 KFAN, The Fan.
Bridgewater 18 of 28, 235, a touchdown and a pick, throws it right, and it's intercepted by Fort Lauderdale native Patrick Peterson. And he slides down at the 45-yard line. Patrick Peterson with an interception, meaning he has 30 in his career, and he runs to the back of the end zone and says, Fort Lauderdale, go crazy. I've come home.
Hey guys, Aaron from South Dakota. I just wanted to comment on the Vikings defense. So they're still giving up a lot of yards in the middle, but they just seemed more comfortable in the scheme this week, and it was nice to see pressure. I'm just kind of excited to see if this is a thing that'll evolve to where that defense can start doing some more stuff. Too many yards, but coming up in the clutch. Ron, your thoughts?
Yeah, Ron, your thoughts. A lot of empty pockets for Tyreek Hill in the second half, but otherwise, you got to feel good about the defensive line getting pressure. But yeah, I think you even joked about it 30 minutes ago when Ben Lieber was talking to Patrick Peterson on the field. Even Pat Peterson was like, we gave up 400 yards? It didn't feel like it because the defense played so well for much of the game. But, man, they did find a lot of yards late, and Teddy did finish with 329 yards. There were a lot of just wide open spaces. I don't know if that was a scheme thing. They were just trying to keep Tyreek Hill in front of him. But, man, there were a lot of 15 to 20-yard plays in that second half that the Dolphins were just racking up.
Yeah, I mean, it was pockets. I saw a couple people tweeting me that, like, hey, why are their receivers running so wide open and ours aren't? I mean, the Dolphins played a lot of man. Like, they weren't afraid to man up because, I mean, honestly, they don't think Adam Thielen can run by him. They put man-to-man coverage with Adam Thielen on like a third DB, the guy that came into the game after the other guy got hurt. And that guy was running step for step with Thielen just because he's older. He doesn't have that same top-end speed he used to. But even with Justin Jefferson, they manned him up. They manned up KJ Osborne. Like, they were willing to take that chance to try to go after Kirk Cousins, and they got to him every once in a while, but just wasn't enough. But, yeah, with Tyreek Hill, when you let him run across the middle of the field, I think that's the thought. Like, even the Jalen Waddle deep over route, I think the telecast said the same thing. Like, it's rare for a guy to go from one side of the field to all the way to the other sideline without that much speed. Like, Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are world-class fast. Even Raheem Mostert, you throw him in there. Kid was a 200-meter champion in the Big 12. So these are world-class athletes when it comes to speed with this Dolphins team. And you're not going to see another set of receivers be able to do some of the routes that they drew up and Mike McDaniels was able to do. Like, that doesn't happen often in the zone where Eric Kendricks has to cover the backside receiver because he's made it all the way across. And Eric Kendricks knew nobody's over here. Nobody's over there to help. So I got to keep running with him because he came through my zone. So it is what it is. But, you know, when you look at that yards to yards, 458 to 234, 73 offensive plays to the Vikings 50. Penalties, I think that was the key. 10 to Vikings 2. Turnovers 3. The Vikings did not turn the ball over one time. Even every time Kirk Cousins is in the pocket, I get nervous that he's going to get it slapped out of his hand. Didn't happen today. So Vikings did what they had to do to win. They're 5-1. Like, we can nitpick because they're 5-1, but at the end of the day, they're 5-1.
Ryan Wright had a 73-yard punt today.
Yeah, and it was in the air from the end zone he was like, I don't know, 8 yards in the end zone by the time he punted it. It bounced on the 25.
Yeah,
that's airtime.
Has anybody looked up longest punts in Vikings history yet? Where does that rank?
I don't know. I haven't looked that up. Do they even keep that? Somebody, Greg Coleman probably knows.
Of course somebody does that. 10 punts for 441. And I believe a team record for most punts inside the 20 in one
7.
game. That's crazy.
Yeah, he flipped the field. Like, that's his
outstanding.
job. That's his job. Don't shank it. Flip the field. Make them have to drive as far as they have to. And he did his job today. Like, he's going to be on that plane on the way back. I hope Kirk puts the chain on again because he said he feels empowered when he wears the chain. I said Kirk Cousins' outfit for Miami should have been a white suit with a purple shirt. He probably won't do it, but if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm living it up.
Full on almost Miami Vice?
Exactly. Completely. Miami Vice.
Looking like a drug lord?
Yes. With the chain.
Full Scarface.
Yes, with Don Johnson. Don Johnson, I think, had the white suit with the pink shirt in the old school Miami Vice. Like, throw the purple shirt
That's a good
on.
idea for you for Halloween. Just Ron Johnson going as Don Johnson.
Or I can go as Jamie Foxx from when he played it.
Nobody liked that movie. Wasn't that Colin Farrell?
Yeah.
You liked the remake of Miami
Yes.
Vice?
Yes, I did.
Oh, my God, Ron.
It was entertaining.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
25. I didn't see it. What do I know? 24-16, the Vikings beat the Miami Dolphins. At this point, we're going to let the network go. We'll do local fan line here in a second. We'll have Nordo and Sauce who are going to do Vikings overtime rolling and keep the conversation going. Then they'll take over in a little bit as well. If you want to continue to listen to Minnesota Vikings fan line, you can find us on the iHeartRadio app. That's probably where some of you have been leaving those talkbacks. If not, you just go to the App Store, download the iHeartRadio app. It's free. Then find KFAN 100.3 in the Twin Cities, and you can continue to listen to us. Or, for example, the Power Trip Morning Show, 5:30 to 9 weekday mornings. The Vikes are 5-1. The Dolphins are 3-3. Ron Johnson, Corey Cove, back locally here in the Twin Cities with more. But for everybody else, this has been the KFAN Minnesota Vikings Radio Network, driven by Polaris.
Football season means tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering for your favorite team. In Minnesota, there are nearly 100 local credit unions with over 300 branches for you to team up with to take your money further. Credit unions stand for community and trust. They keep any profits local and provide members better savings rates. Your teammates own a credit union, and that means you're all working for the same goals. More transparency, more trust will give you more personal financial wins. Visit MinnesotaCreditUnions.org to find your local credit union to take your money further.
Hey, Minnesota fans, it's Paul Allen. Know what the legendary Purple People Eaters and TimberTech decking have in common? A dominating defense. TimberTech has the durability to hold up against Minnesota weather for decades. Not only will it not rot, warp, or splinter like conventional wood, but it looks more like real wood than any other composite brand. And with up to a 50-year warranty, you're protected season after season. Order free samples at TimberTech.com to see the boards for yourself. TimberTech, everything wood should be.
It's Chevy truck season, and Chevy offers a full lineup of trucks and accessories, which means it's the perfect time to find the truck for you and make it your own. Make your Silverado bolder with a sport bar and bed liner. Make your Colorado brighter with perimeter bed lighting. And make your Silverado HD more secure with a tonneau cover. So whether you want added capability or to add your own style, your Chevy dealer can help you find the right Chevy truck and accessories for you to make the most out of truck season with a $1,000 accessory allowance toward the purchase or lease of a new Chevy truck with eligible accessories. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer. Must take new retail delivery of a 2022-2023 Silverado 1500 or Silverado HD or a 2022 Colorado with eligible GM or associated accessories by 10/31/22. Accessory purchase must be equal to or more than 1,000 MSRP. Excludes tax and installation. Not available with some other offers.
Eric is a 13-year member of LIUNA, the Construction Laborers Union.
Yeah, I've been blessed to work on great projects that have truly impacted Minnesotans, like stadiums, public buildings, transit, residential high-rises, and hospitals. The work we do at LIUNA makes a difference for our communities, and I'm all about being a team player. As a union member, I earn great pay and benefits, including pension, health care, and free training throughout my career so I can keep broadening my skills. I'm proud to be a part of LIUNA and the opportunities presented to me in the construction trades.
Visit buildthenorth.org.
What did 9 out of 10 people who died from COVID have in common?
They were 50 or older.
And if you have a condition like heart disease or diabetes, your risk is even higher.
COVID vaccines lower the risk of death.
Get your updated vaccine now. It could save your life.
We can do this. Find updated COVID vaccines at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Geico presents Daily Affirmations.
Repeat after me. We are filled with an abundance of joy.
We are filled with an abundance of joy.
Also an abundance of questions. Good thing Geico has 24/7 claim service to help answer questions and resolve claims quickly.
Good thing Geico has 24/7 claim service.
We are also filled with an abundance of biscuits.
We are also filled with, I don't think it works this way.
Oh, and jam. Don't forget jam.
To manifest more Geico in your life, go to geico.com.
Stop talking and start selling. At Sandler, we like to emphasize what we call the 70-30 rule. When you're building a relationship with your prospect, a true sales professional will spend about 70% of the time asking questions and listening, and only 30% speaking. Make a list of questions that will help you better understand your prospect's needs, problems, and goals, and truly engage the prospect in a meaningful conversation about their situation. To grow your sales, go to salespro.sandler.com, salespro.sandler.com.
Your home for all things purple.
Dalvin 10-5, touchdown!
FM 100.3, KFAN, The Fan.
Vikings Fan Line now continues on FM 100.3, KFAN, and the Fan Radio Network. Post-game coverage on the Fan is presented by our broadcast partners, your Greater Twin Cities Honda dealers, Choice Bank, Carboni's Pizzeria, Evans Transportation, by TimberTech, and by LIUNA, building a better Minnesota.
All right, welcome back to Minnesota Vikings Fan Line. The Vikes are 5-1. I'm Corey Coe from the Power Trip Morning Show. There's Ron Johnson, former Gopher, former Bear, former Raven.
Yeah, just Raven.
Gopher Hall of Fame. Weren't you a Bear for a half a second?
I was there for a couple months.
Okay, a couple months. The Vikings overtime crew of Sauce and Nardo are here as well. Hi, guys.
Hey, man, how are you?
Did you hear any of the first hour of Fan Line?
I heard some guy called in and said something aren't essential items. That was it.
Yeah, that was fun. I feel like it's just rinse and repeat. That it's another weird win, another win to be frustrated about. But it's hard to be super frustrated when they're 5-1. But they still haven't had a complete game. They still haven't looked super crisp. We still haven't seen the full vision of Kevin O'Connell. Right? Still very inconsistent out of Ed Donatell's defense. I don't know what to grab onto outside of the fact that you can't complain about 5-1, right? They have the stranglehold right now on the division. It looks like it's theirs to lose. I don't know how excited to be outside of just being happy that they're 5-1. Your thoughts?
Well, I think the one thing that we saw today is it's basically, as you just said, it's rinse and repeat. Also, though, like the defense got shredded but they made 2 big plays, and then how many sacks did they have? 6?
6.
Like, that's pretty good. But as you said, I wonder what would have changed if Skyler had played the whole game, because he's terrible. Like, I think it would have been I think this would have been over by about the third quarter, because you watch him, like, every time he dropped back, he just either, like, throw it, like, 3 feet too far left or over their heads. I thought Teddy was fine, but this...
Late, right? It took him a while to get going, though.
That is, without Tua, that's an awful Dolphins team.
Yeah, I mean, and the injuries across the board. Like, they can't get one of their corners, Byron Jones,
no left tackle
up the pup list. They're flopping tackles, and Greg Little, and all these guys. And it's Connor Williams, I think they got from the Cowboys. He's been a disaster for them. Austin Jackson, they drafted him in the first round a couple of years ago. He's been really bad. And then due to Teron Armstead, who they paid all that cash for, not being in, and Greg Little's been problems. I actually think if Skylar Thompson plays that entire game, I think the Dolphins may have won that game because Teddy was he looked like a guy that had to leave with a concussion and couldn't practice until Thursday or Friday. So, this entire season has just been one big staring contest, and the other team blinks first. I mean, just in some ways by nature of us not being penalized, that's how we won the game today. That one drive they had where they got into field goal position 3 different times and had to punt. They had plays of like 20 and 30 yards negated, ended up having to punt. Just the self-inflicted problems that are being created by our opponents, and then us just being good enough in the right spot. So I'm with you, Corey. Through 6 weeks, it's like I still don't learn. I haven't learned exactly what the identity of this team is per se, and we keep saying we're learning while winning. But other than the defensive line and the productivity they had up front today and the 6 sacks and some positives there, Patrick Jones, just a really nice bright spot with no DJ Wanham. But overall, through 6 weeks, I have to say, like, this learning while winning thing, this might end up actually just being who we are, if that makes sense.
Well, maybe you could sum up this so far this season like this, Ron, is if you were 5-1, but O'Connell's offense was in full effect, right? And everything we thought it could be, they're putting up just 1 billion points a game. The new vamped, healthy defense with Daniel and Darius is just killing everybody. If this was a dominant 5-1, where let's say maybe 4 of the 5 wins were just a dominating 15 to 20 win performance, and we were 5-1 with a bullet.
Right.
Then I think most of the country, most of the football fans here locally would say this is a legit Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
In a year where there's only 2 or 3 teams that look like they're head and shoulders above everybody else, then there's just a whole bunch of mediocrity.
Right.
I just think this is a 5-1 team that if you said, is this a Super Bowl contender? I would still say no. Right? And that's hard to say about a 5-1 team, but I would say right now this team probably doesn't scare anyone. But now that they're 5-1 and they're 3-0 in the division and the Packers are falling apart, now not making the playoffs is a disaster.
Right.
Right? That should be the minimum. Then you just have to hope that whatever this team is capable of doing, that 11 weeks from now or whatever it is, they're healthy and they give it a run. Because this year looks like the NFC is wide open.
Except for the NFC East. Like, the NFC East went from the bottom of the barrel to now, if the Cowboys beat the Eagles, they have 3 5-1 teams because the Giants just won.
And I get that. But again, the Giants are another example. We're happy for Brian Daboll and his 5-1 start.
Right.
Are you really afraid of Daniel Jones in the postseason? I don't think so.
They still got to play the Vikings on Christmas. That Christmas game, or Christmas Eve, I think now becomes really intriguing if they continue on this path.
Let's use the Bills and Chiefs.
But it's not so much Daniel Jones. It's what's his name, the running back.
I get it. Saquon's back and it looks good, but let's put the Eagles on tier 2. But if it's the Chiefs and Bills who are playing right now, Chiefs are leading 7-3. If those are still the 2 teams that Vegas thinks are the favorites, those are the 2 teams to beat. I don't think either one of those is going to be afraid of Daniel Jones in the postseason.
You are correct.
So
but it's going to be Saquon Barkley, though.
So again, if you're optimistic about this Vikings squad, I still think you can look at it and go, realistically, not a Super Bowl contender yet. But this is the one year. It's almost like the Gophers in the Big Ten West. This was the year to say, well, it's ours for the taking.
Right.
We don't have to be great. We just have to be better than the trash.
Because last time,
I feel like that's what the case is with the Packers and Bears and Lions. We're just better than the 3 of them.
Well, they were 5-1 in 2016. We talked about this. They were 8-8 when they finished that year.
Yuck.
They won 5 straight and then lost 4 straight.
Right.
So
making the playoffs should be the minimum now. You got to get in.
After the bye week, though, they have to. Right. Well, making the playoffs should be the minimum. But if you think about the NFC, barring a complete meltdown, the Bucks are 3-3. The 49ers are 3-3.
They should be 7-1 when they face the Bills.
They should be.
They'll be 7-1 when they face the Bills.
The Bucks are falling apart.
And even if they're 7-2, then they can play the Cowboys. Hopefully, they can beat the Cowboys at that point. Because who knows? I mean, if the Cowboys beat the Eagles, it's going to be tough for Dak Prescott to make that argument.
The Cooper Rush has never lost.
Yeah.
How do you pull a guy that's never lost? I know you're paying Dak $250 million or whatever, but Cooper just doesn't lose.
Well, I think he's more of a product of just not throwing the game away. I mean, again, just whether it was Skylar Thompson, if we don't get 3 picks out of Skylar, I think this game looks a little bit different. And to your argument, the NFC with Tampa at 3, I mean, what an awful game for Tampa to lose in Pittsburgh today. Embarrassing. San Francisco just gets jumped from the beginning by the Falcons, couldn't come back. They're leading the division right now at 3-3. Each of those teams are. So can they win a Super Bowl or can they contend? I look at those differently. I think in the NFC, and however the hell it looks like, and based on what we've seen so far, I think they would be dogs in maybe those games against whether it be the Eagles. But outside of that, the path is so muddy. The Vikings have to be considered a contender because of that. Now, when they meet one of these guys, Buffalo or Kansas City, down in Glendale, I mean, these guys are well-oiled machines, and they're going to put an ass kicking on us potentially. But as of now, because of how weird the NFC is, I love us being in the 5-1 spot. But to your point as well, now you have to make the playoffs.
Have to.
And you have to compete maybe even for that bye with the way things line up. And these tests ahead with both Buffalo and eventually Dallas. And I think Dak, when he's healthy, he'll be starting. But that'll be a better test of litmus in terms of where we're at as a team.
That's maybe one of the most fun quarterback controversies I can remember in a long time. An undefeated, potentially Cooper Rush against a now healthy bazillionaire in Dak Prescott. Remember Jerry Jones a couple of weeks ago joked about how much fun a quarterback controversy would be if Cooper keeps winning, and now he's going to maybe be in that spot.
Yeah.
That'll be fun for the 80-year-old Jerry Jones to worry about.
Dak has to get traded.
Yeah. Well, maybe. Well, hell, you were just suggesting Darren Waller getting traded here about 2 segments ago.
Hey.
More
Go
of Vikings.
on.
Yeah, exactly. More of Vikings Fan Line after this. This is Minnesota Vikings Fan Line on KFAN and the Fan Radio Network.
Hey, Becky, do you like this beat?
I'm into faster stuff lately, like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
What about this then?
Powerful, just like Xfinity.
Get unlimited gig internet for $50 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit extra. Internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity Internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
In Minnesota, winning is everything. And on the road, that means Honda, America's most fuel-efficient, full-line automaker. And this year, Honda's made some exciting new lineup changes, starting with the all-new Honda HR-V. And coming soon, even more redesigned Honda SUVs. So don't wait. For attractive financing on Honda's all-star lineup, see your Greater Twin Cities Honda dealer to reserve or buy your Honda today. Based on EPA estimate of model year 2020 full-line automaker fleet-wide fuel economy. 2021 EPA Automotive Trends Report.
Hi, I'm Braxton and I'm a cancer survivor. I created TB1 Fund to help other patients and families at M Health Fairview Masonic Children's Hospital going through similar life-changing situations. My goal is to provide experiences and day brighteners to help patients stay positive. To learn more about me, my foundation, or to become a teammate, visit tb1fund.org or my Instagram, TeamBrax1. No one fights alone. We got this.
At Evans, we know that defense and big stops wins you championships. But when it comes to logistics, moving forward is key. Ben Lieber here for my guys at Evans. If logistics were football, Evans would be an explosive offense, dropping dimes and hitting the gritty. Make Evans your favorite logistics team today. Evans will be your signal caller you can jump on their backs and ride to victory. Get ahead of the competition right now and have a great experience while you're at it. Visit evanstrans.com. Again, evanstrans.com.
Hey, football fans, it's time to treat your family with a mouth-watering Carboni's Pizza, wings, or a hot hoagie for the game. Carboni's Pizza was voted Best Pizza Twin Cities and has been serving pizza the whole family loves since 1954. Carboni's only uses the freshest ingredients and secret recipes to ensure your family is happy every time. The legacy of two hopeful young Italians is still present in every visit, every exchange, and in every bite. Over 30 locations to choose from. Find yours at carbonis.com.
Jeremy is a 20-year member of LIUNA, the Construction Laborers Union.
I built a career in the construction industry, managing and working on several hazardous waste cleanup projects, including the 35W bridge collapse, light rail transit, and others. The work I do makes the environment for Minnesota families more safe. Now I'm training others to do this work well into the future. LIUNA members earn great pay, union benefits, including pension, and full family health care coverage that is second to none.
Visit buildthenorth.org.
Kelley Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant cash offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate, answer a few questions about your car's history, and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the it's, KBB.com.
An Oral-B electric toothbrush delivers a professional, purifying clean feeling. So if you want a round brush head inspired by dentists,
come and get it.
And if you want a brush that cleans 100% better than a regular brush for cleaner teeth and healthier gums,
What you waiting for?
Oral-B is the brand dentists worldwide use the most. So maybe it's time you...
Come and get it.
You get it. Oral-B. Brush like a pro.
Hey, it's Guardsy from Bumper to Bumper. Thanks for following The Fan on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at KFAN1003.
The Fan.
Say, one thing I'd like to talk about is one thing that's been really good to see is the penalties. We haven't been penalized very often, which is great. So just want to get your thoughts on that. Thanks.
Say, I hope we could talk real quickly about Greg Joseph. He's been missing some really important kicks lately, and of course the one extra point attempt today. I just don't want a repeat of Gary Anderson from 98. I don't want to blow the whole Greg Joseph project up, but what do you guys think is going on there? Is he in his own head? Thanks, guys.
All right, a couple things there. 24-16, the Vikings win over the Dolphins. Let's go back to the talkback call or talkback MP3 number one, Ron Johnson. The penalties.
Yeah.
You played football.
Yeah.
You're a Gopher Hall of Famer. If it's essentially the same group, specifically on offense with things like false starts and things like that, how much is that just truly players maturing or is it coaching? Because the numbers are way better.
Mental error. It's a mental error, and it's just guys not like, think about PJ Fleck, and I hate to do that, but you bring this in. It's not the PJ Fleck postgame show, but PJ Fleck has one of the least penalized teams in college football, not the Big Ten, college football, because he harps on it. Get the ball back to the ref. Don't stretch the ball across the goal line. Make sure you listen to the calls. Make sure you know the snap count. Blah blah. Like, he has all this stuff they do where Tanner Morgan has to make sure so that these guys aren't jumping off sides. They're not holding. They're not making dumb celebrations yet. Like you just saw Juju do one of the slime, across the nose, and he got a penalty. You can't do that in front of guys because refs know what that means now. Like, it's not like you could have got away with some of this stuff before, but social media is telling the refs all what this stuff means. Like, you can't do this stuff. And so that's what PJ says. Don't do crap like that to get us a flag. Like, give the ball back to the ref, get your butt back to the deal. But, like, jumping off sides, lining up wrong, like the delay of games and not getting the plays in, that's on the coach. But jumping off sides, that's on the players. And holding and some of the, like, linemen down the field. I mean, even though I know Meatsalls hates Jonathan Vilma, but Vilma did bring it up. Like, why is this center down the field? Like, it wasn't a screen. Like, what are you doing? And so some of that stuff is just not paying attention to what the play call is.
Point number 2 is about Greg Joseph. He still hasn't missed from under 50. I know he missed an extra point, but he's 1 of 5 this year, 50+. So those missed kicks that the talkback person was talking about, he's missing from long range. The dude has not missed from under 50 yet. So
let's not even talk about it. Let's not talk about it.
I'm not that worried about him. I know Mike Zimmer would have either traded him, cut him, or cut him or killed him.
He would have went for 2 the rest of the game after that first.
Just to prove a point?
Just to do it. Just like, we're not kicking any more extra points. I'm not counting on you anymore. We're going to go for 2 the rest of the game.
Am I the only one that's completely cool with Greg Joseph so far?
As long as we don't talk about the kicker, I'm good. Yeah. And again,
anybody
he's made the
anti-Greg
kicks to win.
I'm pro Greg.
I'm pro Greg.
Yeah. I'm down with it.
You're pro Greg?
I'm pro Greg.
You're down with Greg.
I'm down with Greg.
I'd put a pro Greg bumper sticker on the back of my vehicle.
Sure. Go over well.
Let's blow out a couple of these teams and then intentionally line him up from 54 just to give him some in-game reps.
I was wondering what you were about to say there.
Yeah, I thought
said blow out. I was
I
like,
don't
okay.
know what you were.
I don't know what you were about to say.
I don't know how power trip you were going to go on it.
Well, maybe not right now.
Yeah.
Vikings win 24-16 over the Dolphins. Any other major concerns, fellas? I know we're trying not to be negative because they're 5-1, but what else are you in these last 11 games now concerned that is not improving enough?
Well, I thought the offensive line had a bad game. I thought there were a ton of missed blocks. I I'm not pro football focused, but I would bet that Evan Ingram will get his Evan. Why did I say Evan? I would bet Ed Ingram gets his worst grade so far for his season so far. That didn't look well. Bradbury I didn't think played well. I didn't see much from the tackles, but I just think it was the worst we've seen this offensive line play so far.
Are you Ron specifically? Are you concerned that Cousins and Jefferson have had a handful of pretty obvious plays where somebody's running the wrong route or the communication's way off?
Nope.
It happened again today.
It did.
He looked super pissed.
So this is the thing. When you look at Kirk Cousins being able to change the play, because we brought that up, everybody's hand signals, like, I hate to do this, but Peyton Manning had one that he called it Big Cat. But his hand signal was like this over his crotch.
That's not PC.
And so when you think about that, that was one of his checks. But another check was if he grabbed his thigh, it was one. Another one was if he, like, I forgot, I think it was shoulder or face mask. So if you don't get the signal, receivers are supposed to tap their helmet or whatever their signal. Someone's like, tap the face mask. I didn't get it. Tell me again. If you're not getting the call, or you're not getting the check, and you're forgetting to go back, or you're guessing like, oh, what did he just give me? And I'm going to run the route. Now, whether it was a hitch that Justin Jefferson had, press coverage. So this is the problem with football. There's a lot of stuff that happens. If he changes to a hitch changes to a fade on press coverage. So Kirk Cousins probably changes to a hitch, knowing like this dude is pressed up. I want the fade. I'm not gonna give you fade because then they know probably my fade call, whatever that might touch the butt.
Digsey's doing it right now. He was just moving his arm up and down like I didn't hear what it was.
Exactly. And so he has to get the call. And so if you think about that, if he was press coverage, Justin Jefferson didn't think about it. He just ran the hitch. Kirk Cousins thinking fade. That's just, hey, this is new stuff. These are new checks, new calls. Everything's like Kevin O'Connell's not using anything from last year. So and I say these are professionals. It should happen. Like some quarterbacks have had 4 different I think Kirk Cousins had 4 coordinators in 5 years or something, or 5 coordinators in 6 years. Like it's going to happen. But I'm glad Kirk Cousins is showing that because Justin Jefferson damn sure has cursed out when he hasn't gotten the ball and Kirk Cousins missed him. So the fact that Kirk is willing to stand up and do that, we're professionals. Who cares? If you get mad at me, boom, I'm going to make up for it because I know I'm an all-pro. Justin Jefferson knows he's an all-pro. Hey, I made a mistake. My bad, man. I'm going to make it up to you later.
You're saying these are more Jefferson mistakes, right?
No, who knows? That's the thing. We don't know what the call was. Mm-hmm. It could have been Kurt thought he gave him the check fade, and maybe Kirk ran cowboy, which is a corner route to one guy and a hitch to the other. Like, we don't know who. It could have been the slot guy ran the wrong route. We're all saying it's Jefferson, but the slot might have had a corner route. Jefferson had the hitch. Like, there's a lot of checks. You can get to it. So who
Football
knows?
Seems confusing.
You'd have to ask Kirk Cousins. Ask Kirk Cousins your next interview presser. Hey, when Justin Jefferson, who ran the wrong route in Miami when you threw the ball in the fade? Like
Kirk's too nice. He's not going to throw anybody under the bus. Nordo, your thoughts?
Well, so prior to the season, it was either it may have been KJ or Thielen. I forget which one, but they talked about how excited they were because of the freedom that this offense was going to afford them. Yep. So how much chaos is trying to be controlled or learned or understood from a chemistry standpoint where, you mentioned if we check to a certain hitch, then it becomes a fade with this.
But if it's a corner route behind you can't run a fade.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of these things where there is autonomy and freedom for a Justin Jefferson to say, if I get this type of look, instead of running X, I'm going to run Y and whatever that looks like.
It's just a choice route.
But how difficult is that to learn on the fly while you're developing this new offense?
It's hard, but that's why you get paid. I mean, that's why Justin wants $180 million next year. Like, you have to be able to do Cooper Kupp. Like I said, that's why he got paid what he got paid. Like the autonomy to do that is just saying if the guy's outside shade and I'm the choice guy, I can run a slant. If the guy's inside shade, I can run an out. If the guy's pressed, I can run a go. Like it all is predicated on coverage, and that's why you see Kirk come to the line. He kind of does the Sunday, Then he does some other stuff. Then he motions Jefferson in. If you watch, when Justin motioned in, he saw the guy at the corner came and then stacked. That's told him right away. They're in man. So that's when he switched it up. Justin, the next out or 2 times down later, Justin runs the out or, whatever, flat and go. Because he said, okay, when we do this, they're going to give you man. So let's wait. And that's Kevin O'Connell just waiting and dialing it up. Put Justin Jefferson on the inside, runs the whatever flat route. The DB aggressively like, I got to stop Justin Jefferson from running this flat. Boom, takes off and runs a go. So it is a lot of work. It is tough. You are learning a new system, but you're getting paid millions of dollars. Like, that's like, going to getting a new Tesla being made. Meat Sauce knows that. And all of a sudden they're like, well, look, the brakes got to change now because the computer system does this because Meat Sauce can't figure out how to turn left.
What?
They got to figure it out.
It turns left on its own, Ron.
But somebody has to tell it to do that.
He paid a pretty penny for that self-driving feature.
But the thing about the person, if they can't get that on the fly, then all of a sudden the car turns. You say turn left and it turns right, you're dead. Yeah. Like that's when you make a lot of money.
He slept when we were on our way here, as a matter of fact.
And the car just drove.
And I just periodically touched the steering wheel so it kept driving.
Did you? Oh, never mind.
No.
Okay. It's a family show, Ron.
Your local Chevy dealer drive of the game is going to be the 7-play, 73-yard, 4-minute and 9-second drive that started the fourth quarter. The Adam Thielen touchdown ended that drive and made it 16-3. The Vikes missed the extra point. Greg Joseph, we were just talking about him. But up until then, man, it got a little dicey. And obviously, the Dolphins had a couple of chances to get back in it, but that was what felt to be, with a floundering Dolphin squad, that felt to be the one that was going to be the difference, and it kind of was.
The missed extra point?
Yeah, I mean,
Meat Sauce tweeted game was over.
You thought it was going to be 17-16?
Well, when they were driving, man, I thought it was. When Waddle caught that pass, I mean, he hangs on to that, who knows? But
great play by Harrison.
Correct. They had just ripped through that defense, and then they come back again. They get the ball after the bad offensive output by our Vikings. And that Waddle pass looked like it was going to be, 30, 40 yards, and then knocks it out, get the ball back, and, then the Dalvin bit happens. But, man, the defense has been weird because, they got the sacks, they got the turnovers when they needed it. But as you and I were talking, Nordo, on the way out here, they got lit up through the air by Teddy Bridgewater, who, without injury, probably doesn't play another NFL game.
Yeah, we're 2 weeks in a row now where we've figured out how to stop the run, whether it was the Bears last week and just how they mow you down with Montgomery and Herbert. And we figured out how to stop that. And then even today, Mostert can be a problem. Now, he's been long removed from all that success in San Francisco. He's through some injuries, but he looked like he was just going to run all over us. The offense that we saw today is perfect for exposing the softness, that underbelly right there in our defense. And Tyreek streaking through the middle, Waddle, they had everything they wanted in the second half. So when you're saying through 6 games we're learning but we're winning, is there anything that's worrisome? I do continue to think about just how we can get better, or how we can adjust, how we can improve defensively, because not every game is going to allow us or afford us the ability to get 3 big takeaways and find our way back into the game, Mosey style. We have to clamp that down, because teams are going to. That's beginning to be a thing. That is now, if you want to look at an identity on our defense right now, you run kind of the same routes that Justin Jefferson does against other teams, and you run that against this defense, and it's first downs all day. So the softness of that coverage, or playing off all the time as the Vikings do, is concerning to me.
Vikes are 5-1. They win 24-16 over the Dolphins. More of Fan Line after this on KFAN and the Fan Radio Network.
I started my box factory to help people move things more efficiently. Nancy from Choice Bank makes me more efficient so my business can grow in a steady rhythm. Now I got more time to beat box at home, make boxes in the plant, beat box at home. My Choice Banker got me a business loan. My name is Barry B, and I got a sweet voice. Box maker by day, beat boxer by choice.
Choice Bank. We're committed to your business, your success, and to you. It's what we mean by people first banking. Go to bankwithchoice.com.
Hey, fans of the purple and gold, it's Paul Allen. And if you're sick of trying to tackle your deck maintenance, then rush over to TimberTech. TimberTech looks more like real wood than any other composite brand. And it's tough enough to handle even the harshest Minnesota weather. Want to lock up some protection too? TimberTech offers warranties that give you up to 50 years of coverage. So if you're ready to build the perfect place to kick back at kickoff this season, visit TimberTech.com to get free samples. TimberTech. Everything wood should be.
Football season means tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering for your favorite team. In Minnesota, there are nearly 100 local credit unions with over 300 branches for you to team up with to take your money further. Credit unions stand for community and trust. They keep any profits local and provide members better savings rates. Your teammates own a credit union, and that means you're all working for the same goals. More transparency, more trust will give you more personal financial wins. Visit MinnesotaCreditUnions.org to find your local credit union to take your money further.
Kelley Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant Cash Offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate, answer a few questions about your car's history, and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the its, KBB.com.
Come and get it.
In just 2 minutes, an Oral-B electric toothbrush can change your mind about what a toothbrush can do. In just 2 minutes a day, its dentist-inspired round brush head cleans 100% better than a regular brush. And in less time than the average commercial break, you can get that purifying clean feeling like you just left the dentist. Not bad for just a couple of minutes. Oral-B. Brush like a pro.
Come and get it.
COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too. If you feel symptoms, even if they're mild, you should test fast. Test positive and at high risk for severe COVID-19? Then act fast with authorized oral treatments that can be taken at home and must be taken within 5 days from when symptoms begin. COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too by asking your healthcare provider if an oral treatment is right for you. Learn about a treatment option at treatcv19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer lasting scent.
The Fan.
Hey guys, Taylor from Coon Rapids. The one thing that bugs me is probably still the fourth downs that we don't go for. It seems like every other team I watch is consistently going for it on fourth downs. We just, for some reason, seem to give up and just punt it, kick it, whatever. Even on fourth and short. I think that's the only thing that Kevin O'Connell is not doing that I wish he would.
Ooh, I'd have to look that up. I feel like he's gone for it a handful of times on fourth this year. I think that might be just a gut reaction. I don't know if statistically what he just said, Taylor in Coon Rapids, is correct because, look, every coach under 40 understands the power of possession. They're all going for it on fourth down all the time.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Ron, we don't need to get into this. But, of course, when Mike McDaniel went for the 2-point conversion on the first touchdown when he needed to get the onside kick and get another one, I looked over at Muss and I go, oh, God dang it. Now I know Ron's going to go, shouldn't have gone for 2. And I'm going to have to say, yes, you're supposed to go for 2 on the first one.
I think it was brilliant.
Statistically, that's the right thing to do. Of course, he's going for it because he's Revenge of the Nerds and he gets it. He understands the math. That's absolutely what you're supposed to do. It didn't work.
And
So,
by
of
the
course,
way,
that was an 8-point deficit. But still.
If he gets that, if he gets that, and they get the onside kick,
you win the game
because the only bad percentage play in that entire situation is the onside kick.
Exactly.
So that is the focus, and it didn't work out. Cam Bynum gets it. Game's over. Going for 2 there is brilliant.
No, it's the right play.
You
and
walk
Ron,
off with an extra point.
No, Ron. No, here's why. See, why did I bring it up? I don't want to do this with Ron.
I don't know why you brought it up.
If you kick an extra point, you have the momentum, and you feel better going into the. You feel better.
Momentum. What if you get the 2-point conversion, Ron?
No, but you did.
Yeah, Ron.
If you're down 14, we saw that. Who was the team sauce that came back from 14 earlier this year that was like crazy, like in the final minute?
Oh.
Was it the Colts or something? I forget who it was.
No.
Some crazy.
No, it was the Jets.
The
Wasn't it the Jets in like a minute 20 or something?
Against the Browns, wasn't it?
Against the Browns, yeah.
And then you realize somebody throws out the stat that this hasn't happened in 2.7 billion years, right? And you're like, oh, man. But you realize if you are down 14 with a couple of minutes to go in the NFL, statistically, you're all but dead.
Yeah.
So the theory is, Ronald, Don Johnson wannabe for Halloween, Don Johnson. The theory is mathematically as well. If you come all the way back and score 2 touchdowns, the nightmare scenario is scoring 2 touchdowns just to tie, just to get to overtime. Where in theory, then you're 50-50.
Now you have the momentum.
No, if you are the 1 in 1,000 that comes back, you want that to be a victory, not a tie.
Kick the extra point. Then you get the onside kick.
Okay, Boomer, get out of here.
Then you score a touchdown again. Then you decide.
No, KOC's never hiring you now. Mike McDaniel's never hiring you. But to the caller's point, though, about the 4th downs, 4th and 7, 4th and 9, like you can't go for those. No. The only one I'd say the 4th and short. Yeah, I get that. But that's to start the game here at 4th and 2. If you don't punt that there, who knows what happens? Like if you don't get the 4th and 2, like I don't think you felt like if your offense is in a rhythm, then you can't go for it on a 3 and out. And I promise you, we're going to see this with KOC again because he's under 40. When you're in no man's land, right on the other side of the 50,
instead of punting, you might as well just go for it.
4th and 4, 4th and 5. He's going to start going for it. He has
100%. Go for it.
You're going to do it. If you're 4th and 5 from your own 20, we're not doing that. I get that.
Well, and you
mentioned
he's fine. And you mentioned Greg and his issues above beyond 50 yards. Mm-hmm. I think the more situations you see them in 4th, that will play into that conversation too.
Sure.
Like Mike McDaniel, he went for that. Again, getting back to the defense momentarily. The 3rd and 19 play in which we allowed 14 easy freaking yards to set that up. Those are some of again, it's so good to be 5-1 and be able to pick this bleep apart because that's an awful situation you put your defense in. Bad play, 14 yards, a 4th and 10. How does that decision change for them in the moment versus the 4th and 5? They're like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. And it was either Gesicki or somebody wide open, as they were for most of the second half. But I have no issue with how we've handled our first touchdown of the year, 4th and 4. You can kick that field goal from the 5 or 6. That's the first touchdown of the season to JJ against the Packers. Yeah. O'Connell, for me, for the most part, the specific moment decisions have been fantastic from the head coach.
And this is an unanswerable question because clearly KOC is not answering the question I'm about to just bring up. But if you've watched or listened to his press conferences this year, and Sauce and I have had to for the dumb bit we do every Thursday.
It's a great bit, by the way.
Every single week, about 15 times a week, he says, there's a lot of things I could do better to help my team. Right? But of course, he doesn't pinpoint those things because you don't want to give out company secrets. But he keeps saying there's things I have to do better, to get this team more efficient. I don't know what they are because they continue to not click, but they continue to win. So my guess is, I don't know if he said it after today's game, but my guess is in the press conferences this week, he's going to say it again. Yeah, we're still not as efficient as we'd like. There's some things I need to do. I don't know what those are. He does. My guess is he knows what they are. They're just not working yet. Yet they're 5-1.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters, Ron. 5-1.
And Kyler Murray looks horrible, so you might be right.
Yeah, I think they win next. But they'll have.
Here's the with and without DeAndre Hopkins, though. That's the
they'll
first
have
thing I
Hopkins
said.
back, though.
But who knows if they can jail. But with and without Hopkins, they're definitely a different team.
Yeah, they'll have Hopkins.
They look horrible right now.
And what's up with Geno Smith, man? The Seahawks are 2-3, and We joked about it on the Power Trip this week that you could argue he's slinging it better than Russell Wilson. Like the Seahawks may have just absolutely fleeced.
That's not even an
Denver.
argument. That's fact.
It is. And now, as Charch said on Friday on our show, you also now don't have that contract. So now next year, when there's a ton of top-flight running backs available in the free agent market, you can go after them. You could make a trade for a Christian McCaffrey if you want that. True. There's all kinds of options.
Well, and I think they really like Kenneth Walker, and I don't know how he's been doing today.
He's 11 carries, 81 yards.
And Kyler fumbles the ball.
7.4 average.
So we dig that. But that's a team that just somehow everything went their way with this Russell Wilson thing.
Everything.
And the ability to keep DK Metcalf happy and paid. Tyler Lockett, one of the most underrated receivers in the game. They love,
Maybe
I think
ever.
It's Charles.
That kid's so good.
He is.
I know he's not a kid. But
and all his former teammates, though, are attacking Russell Wilson, too.
Except for Dak. Or not Dak. DK Metcalf doesn't go after him.
He's a good guy, though.
Yeah, he can go after him.
I played with his dad with the Bears. He's a good, smart, young kid. Like, he's not going to do that. But the rest of those guys are going after Russell Wilson.
Well, did you see some bit with Richard Sherman and Marshawn? Where it's basically like, I won a Super Bowl with this guy.
And I can't
call him.
Well, that's like Corey.
I don't have his phone number.
Yeah.
I have to
go
call
through his manager.
I have to call Angie to get to Corey.
I had to call the golf course just to get a tea time with meat sauce.
Yeah. That was fun, though. We should do that again.
I mean, he's a goon, man. I mean, I don't know what the issue is. He's a goon.
Yeah. Should we call Lieber?
I mean, he probably still has a flip phone, though. So you never know.
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I wish I still had one of those old...
Well, you got the bendable phone.
Well,
you got the one that bends.
Yeah,
wait a minute.
This thing is kind of an L, though. I mean,
I don't like it.
If you still had a flip
the
phone,
screen's wearing out at the fold.
Why
Like
stop
the
phoning so
exact
much?
fear or worry that you would have about this type of phone.
If you had a flip
9
phone,
months
Your
in
mom
is doing
told
it.
you overusage will always burn it out.
the system
That
would be
what Mary
ruined
Ellen
if you had a flip phone.
Yeah, I should have listened. Sorry, Mom.
You're flipping it too much. Stop flipping it so much.
That's private.
All right, the Vikings win 24-16. They're 5-1. We're going to hand it over to the Vikings overtime guys. Ron, thanks for your time.
Enjoy
thank
you, Corey.
your next
I'm
work,
glad to
guys.
see you
man.
finally. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I think you're going to see me, once in November and maybe once in December. So get used to Mr. Nordquist over here.
I'm used to it already.
You guys have bonded. I get it.
We're always in it. You know, I don't get to come to the PA show anymore, so now this is my time with meat sauce. Nordo.
I kind of look like him. I'm like a poor man's version of meat sauce.
It works.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, anytime. Vikings Overtime is next. You can listen to the Power Trip Morning Show tomorrow, 5:30 to 9. We'll have Ben Lieber on to break down this game, and we'll have Adam Thielen on, and he'll have to explain to us why he didn't do his Ronaldo celebration or whatever that he was promising the Power Trip the last couple weeks. He did the gritty. He promised us a dance.
Yeah, he did twice. Twice.
So we'll rip Adam tomorrow as well. Vikings Overtime is next. This has been a Minnesota Vikings fan line on KFAN and the Fan Radio Network.
Hey, Becky, do you like this beat?
I'm into faster stuff lately, like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
What about this then?
Powerful, just like Xfinity.
Get unlimited gig internet for $50 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go online, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit extra. Internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity Internet. After 24 months, regular rates apply.
Hey, Minnesota fans, it's Paul Allen. Know what the legendary Purple People Eaters and TimberTech decking have in common? A dominating defense. TimberTech has the durability to hold up against Minnesota weather for decades. Not only will it not rot, warp, or splinter like conventional wood, but it looks more like real wood than any other composite brand. And with up to a 50-year warranty, you're protected season after season. Order free samples at TimberTech.com to see the boards for yourself. TimberTech, everything wood should be.
TB1 Fund and M Health Fairview Masonic Children's Hospital are united with the founder, Braxton, and her mission to brighten the days of patients and their families. Let's cheer for Braxton's Buddy of the Week, Ava. Ava was diagnosed with JMML, a very rare form of leukemia, in 2015. She received a bone marrow transplant to battle this disease. Her brother TJ was her donor. Thanks to the amazing doctors at the Masonic Children's Hospital, Ava is doing fantastic today. Learn more about Ava and how you can make a difference at tb1fund.org.
It's Chevy truck season, and Chevy offers a full lineup of trucks and accessories, which means it's the perfect time to find the truck for you and make it your own. Make your Silverado bolder with a sport bar and bed liner. Make your Colorado brighter with perimeter bed lighting. And make your Silverado HD more secure with a tonneau cover. So whether you want added capability or to add your own style, your Chevy dealer can help you find the right Chevy truck and accessories for you to make the most out of truck season. With a $1,000 accessory allowance toward the purchase or lease of a new Chevy truck with eligible accessories. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer. Must take new retail delivery of a 2022-2023 Silverado 1500 or Silverado HD or a 2022 Colorado with eligible GM or associated accessories by 10/31/22. Accessory purchase must be equal to or more than 1,000 MSRP. Excludes tax and installation. Not available with some other offers.
Football season means tailgating, touchdowns, and cheering for your favorite team. In Minnesota, there are nearly 100 local credit unions with over 300 branches for you to team up with to take your money further. Credit unions stand